Against local favorite Scott Devers in the first match. And let's get right to the action here this afternoon. Gant and Devers. Devers from just about 60 miles east of Indianapolis, Centerville, Indiana. One of three left-handers in the stepladder finals, opening with a strike. Devers, 24 years of age, his third year on tour. This week's average, 213.6. John Gant qualified with a 215 tournament average. And Gant starts it off. His sixth appearance in the championship round this year, and his fifth in the last 7 tournaments. 29 years of age, from Independence, Kentucky, and boy, does that ball of his get down there fast, Earl.
Not only that, but it's probably the most powerful ball on tour. John can strike from anywhere on the lane, and if there's any advantage he has, it's his ability to make those pins fly, and it's actually demoralizing to the other players.
Hall of Famer Earl Anthony alongside. This is Jay Randolph. We're in Indianapolis. What a week we've had. And Gant leaves the 247.
Characteristics of the lanes this week, Jay, are that the players have a problem if they try to get away from the pocket area. In other words, send the ball out or belly the ball, it tends to hang, so they have to go up and at him, as you see John did there. The ball went a little too much up and at him, and he leaves the 247. Not an easy spare. He'll go cross lane, knowing John, a lot of speed.
And he got him.
He got him, and he didn't go cross lane. It surprised me. Normally they go cross lane at that spare. John shot it down the left side with just a lot of speed.
Devers is 5'11", just 135 pounds. Very interesting style.
Very unique style. We have 5 unique styles on the show today. As you can see, he's just the opposite of John. Stroker. His forte is his accuracy and his finesse. And I'm really impressed with his first time on television, the way he can get up there and just stroke that ball. Weak end-over-end roll, you might say, but he's got the angle working for him, and he's got that consistency.
Well, his highest previous finish on the national tour was 19th in the Greater Buffalo Open last year. Devers up by 10 pins. And he opens with a turkey. True Value Hardware, $200,000 here at their tournament for a perfect game. Gant was a sizzler here last night. Boy, what a night he had. That's what he can do. He can mash them. He had a 279 game, a 205 game, another 279, and a 254 here last night. And in the position round, he went against young Mark Thayer, an amateur, playing in his first PBA event. You look at the scoreboard, and what a match it was, with Gant winning 254 to 247. Devers with a 20-pin lead. Gant trying for double. These two left-handers are rolling well in the early going. We'll be back with more from Indianapolis in just a moment.
True Value Hardware, it's more than a name.
Now you really can take it with you in this 19.5-inch plastic toolbox by Plano. It's rugged with a lightweight design and a removable 5-compartment tote tray. In November, get the 19.5-inch toolbox by Plano for just $8.88. Look for the True Value of the Month banner at most True Value hardware stores and home centers.
A bowler's greatest enemy, lane conditions. Difficult, changing, unpredictable. But there's a ball that handles it all. The AMF angle. Urethane control, urethane hitting power. Devastating on any lane condition. #1 total winner on the Winter Pro Tour over the past 5 years. Don't be left in the past. Hundreds of thousands of bowlers have chosen the black angle to get better scores. The AMF black angle at your bowling pro shop. The angle strikes again.
This bud's for all that you do. Today, a landscaper. Tomorrow, a college student.
Yep. Finally took your advice, Mike.
You taught him.
Already you're smart.
Oh, you knew. They say he's a lot like you. Yeah, you make America work, and this bud's for you.
Here's to you, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
To a future architect. And to a brother who made it possible.
This bud's for you.
The PBA Fall Tour is sponsored by True Value Hardware. More than just a name, it's their way of doing business. By Dodge, America's best back trucks. They're Ram Tough. By AMF's Angle, the Winter Pro Tour's #1 total winner over the past 5 years. And by Budweiser, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. Along with Earl Anthony, Jay Randolph here in Indianapolis. John Gant down by 6. Devers left a bucket in the 4th. Came up with a spare. He struck in the 5th. And now Gant left the 3-5. 9. He converts very nicely. And there is his son, 5-year-old Evan Gant, along with his father, John. Gant down by 10 pins. An extremely talented performer. Darrell Bauer was a winner here last year over Mike Albee in the final match.
Big break, Big
Yes.
John. John didn't like that shot when he let go of it, and he's had trouble on the left lane getting the ball to stay left of his target. As you can see, he gets a tremendous revolution with very strong wrist. The ball breaks sharply through the middle of the head pin, almost the 4-6. An easy spare for John. Cross lane with a lot of speed. The players have had trouble keeping the ball from hooking early. At the same time, they can't give it any extra room because it won't come back, and that's a tough shot. That's why the players that have made it this week, the top 5, there are 3 left-handers. The shot doesn't change as dramatically for the left-handers as it does for the right-handers. It's more consistent.
Devers very consistent here this week, is up by 11 pins. Watch his right hand. He uses it kind of as a balance. Curves it.
Very short backswing. Almost pushes the ball in the lane, Jay.
He's got his hands full here on lane 60.
Twice in a row, he's had the ball come in light on 60. We left the bucket in the 4th frame. This time he leaves the washout. As you can see, it's a very short backswing. He kind of pushes the ball out in the lane. Good follow through, good balance at foul line. That's where he gets that accuracy and good consistent speed control.
Trying to pick up the 1-3-6-10. Hey!
Great shot.
Right.
This is a young man that's showing a lot of poise. He's cool as ice on television, Jay. First time on national television. You see it from the great shot, that low angle. We have the camera right down on the approach. The head pin going into the channel, coming out, kicking out to 7. Tremendous pressure shot from young Scott Devers.
The ABC Masters last year, Scott finished 7th, earned $5,500. He could earn $21,000 here today. And they all go down for him. Devers with a lot of local folks rooting for him. Back with more in a moment.
Time was you could put a truck on the market and get by with just an ordinary guarantee. With Ford and Chevy, it's still that way. At Dodge, we put a standard 550 protection plan on every truck we build. Every truck we build. Now ask yourself, where would you rather be, back there with them or out here with Dodge? America's best back trucks are Ram Tough, and that's guaranteed.
Introducing Kodacolor VRG film.
Life comes in many shapes and colors. Every moment is a rising sun. Life is when you let the spirit move you, and that's what makes the whole world fun. Don't you know we're all part of the color of life?
The most accurate, realistic color and print film is here. Kodacolor VRG.
Yeah, the color of life.
You might be able to make it on your old antifreeze another year, but then again, you just might find yourself left out in the cold. Driving just 10,000 miles on weak, neglected antifreeze can cause freeze-up and make a radiator look this bad, while the Prestone radiator looks this good. So, for maximum protection, don't push your luck. Change it once a year, every year, with fresh Prestone.
Welcome back here. There's Dan Cotter, the president of Cotter & Company, the parent company of True Value Hardware Stores, and the gentleman involved, I'm reminded, of course, in Indianapolis, in auto racing, the Indy 500 and other ventures. The True Value Open, Scott Devers and John Gant in this first match. Gant down by 11 pins. Gant 6'2", 190 pounds. 279 is high game this week. There you see his earnings. He averaged 193 on the TV pair. He's on target today. This is such a strong fella. He is, at 6'2" and 190, a man who generates marvelous speed on the ball. And when he's got it in the pocket, look what happens.
You can't do it better than that, Jay. That is what you call power personified.
Many of you were with us last week in Rochester. You might remember the remark I made. He punishes the pins. He really does.
That's right.
Another strike for Gant. This is his dad. Devers lead. 1 pin.
Three times in a row, Jay, he's missed the pocket on the right-hand lane. And all three of them been in the same type of shot. He's got the ball a little wide, and he doesn't get the back end that a John Gant would get. You can see Scotty's ball is very end over end. It doesn't make the sharp turn that John's does, and he cannot afford to give it any extra room and get it back. He has to be precise with his release and go up at the pocket.
Devers looking at the 1-3-9.
Just the way it should be done. Crosses in front of the head pin, covers the back pins.
And he remains up 1.
Here's where the experience starts to show. Now, John Gant, as you mentioned, has been on the telecast many times over the last 7 weeks. I think you said 5, Jay.
That's right.
And he has been in this position. He's come through in this position before. This is Scotty's first time going into the crucial 9th frame. Scotty must strike here to put any pressure at all on John Gant.
This young man took a learn to bowl class when he was 13 years old. That time he went to 4 steps. Before that he was so small and tiny he was an 11-stepper.
That's right. You can see the style of Scotty Devers. He goes to the foul line, and that when he came up a little bit at the line, pulled the ball in front of him, that's a natural adjustment for a young player unconsciously to do that after having 2 or 3 balls go wide of the head pin. Difficult spare. He has to fit it between the 2 pins. Let the ball take out the back pin. And he missed the front one.
He didn't get the 2. He did convert the 7, but the first time that he has been open, and a big opportunity now for Gant, who has a 12-pin advantage.
This is where the experience comes through. Let's see if John takes advantage of that experience he's gained over the last 5 or 6 weeks. Power, the strength of John Gant, as you mentioned, Jay, just demoralizes the pins. It just smashes them.
He was voted the 1984 Sporting News PBA Rookie of the Year. There's the scoreboard. 22-pin lead for Gant here in our first match. Gant has dead aim on that $21,000 first prize, and of course, again, I'll remind you, $200,000 for a perfect game. Gant is a winner of this match.
He is, and Scotty Devers
Question of
bowled
what the
extremely
total will be.
well.
Yes,
Yeah,
he
did
has.
for his first time on television, and he gained a lot of experience here, and he'll be back.
Gant really did impress me last evening here in that match with Thayer. Boy, oh boy, what a fine opening match for Gant. In his career, he's won better than $124,000. Coming up, it'll be Gant against Sullins. Gant with a 242 game to open up a winner over Devers.
True Value hardware stores unravel the mystery of choosing great gifts for do-it-yourselfers by offering the Poland 14-inch gas chainsaw for just $119.99. Or choose the 12-inch electric chainsaw by Remington for only $48.99. For neat hedges, give the Black & Decker 16-inch hedge trimmer just $38.99 and earn a $5 mail-in rebate. And give neat edges with the Weed Eater gas trimmer edger. It's only $78.88 at most True Value hardware stores and home centers.
You might get caught out in the middle of nowhere with a dead battery, but I won't. This is a Delco Maintenance 3 battery, and when this green eye is showing, it means I've got all the starting power I need, up to 770 cranking amps. If you think your battery's fading fast, I'd start thinking Delco.
Now through January 3rd, get a $5 rebate on most Delco batteries. See a participating AC Delco retailer for details.
Never wait for trouble.
Why you bothering me, boy? Are you crazy?
I'm a chicken hawk and you're a chicken. Are you coming quietly or do I have to mush you up?
You're going at it all wrong, son. You gotta go to Kentucky Fried Chicken if you want to catch America's favorite chicken. It's a great place to get a great meal. No one makes tender, juicy chicken like the Colonel. It's finger-licking good. Here, son, let me give you a lift.
We do chicken right.
This fall, NBC Sports has a November to remember when the beautiful shores of Maui lure the tour's great golfers. Lee Trevino, flamboyant Chichi Rodriguez, and the best in men's golf take on one of the world's toughest courses. The Isuzu Kapalua International makes it a November to remember on NBC.
John Gant with a very impressive victory over Scotty Devers. 242 to 203. The Woodland Bowl, the site of this $135,000 True Value Open. And as we like to do, we show you the top 24 finishers. Pete Weber's holding up the whole crowd this week.
Not his normal position by far.
Well, the activity here all week has been excellent.
It has, Jay. The scores have been great, and we've been fortunate in the top 24 to have some of the best bowlers in the world this week. Some of the top players over the last 15 years. And people like Mark Roth, Marshall Holman, players of the year in the past. They've dominated over the years, and they're back in good form.
Roth winning 2,100. Marshall Holman 2,200 here. Fans of the Indianapolis area really turning out. Rod Pasteur from Miami won $2,600. Bensick has been bowling very, very well of late. There's a story. Mark Thayer, an amateur, his first PBA event this week. Talked about Thayer in his match with Gant last night. That was special.
It was an exceptional match. Gant had to strike on the first ball in the 10th frame to beat Mark Thayer out of the telecast.
And the man from down in Lafayette, Louisiana, Cajun country, Purvis Granger, finishing 6th and winning $4,000. With Earl Anthony, Jay Randolph here at the Woodland Bowl in match 2, John Gant and Harry Sullins going at it as Scott Devers takes $5,000 out of the prize money here. Harry Sullins, 6 feet tall, 165 pounds, from the Detroit area. Qualified with a 215.78 average this week. One of 2 right-handers in our final fivesome, and he starts things off in very good fashion.
Harold, I've seen Harold bowl many times in the past, Jay, and he is extremely good under pressure. I think John Gant has his hands full with this match. He's going to have to bowl well. May not take 240 like he shot the first game, but he's going to really have to perform well.
247 left standing for Gant. Gant defeated Devers 242 to 203. 8 strikes for Gant in his victory over Devers.
As you mentioned, Jay, there's $200,000 for a 300 game on our telecast this week. Harold Sullins did bowl a 300 game earlier in the week, so it's a possibility here on these lanes at Woodland Bowl.
Sullins along with Mark Baker and Jack Jurek, 300 games during the action this week here in Indianapolis. Gant was one of the top amateurs in America before turning professional. He won the Ohio State All Events in '82 and '83. There you see his average in '86 and this week.
John Gant can hit him thin, and he can just make them dance. Harold Sullins, also a power player. As you watch John Gant in a replay of his previous shot, the strike on lane 59. Watch the 5-pin go to the right, go back to the left. They're dancing around out there. Here is a power player on the right side. Harold Sullins, he carries the ball to the foul line, very strong in the release point, tremendous lift and turn, and a great result.
Sullins was chatting with me last night. There you see he's 29 years of age, his second year on tour. Many of you may remember that his first TV final was just a little over a year ago in the Kodak Invitational in Rochester. He says, boy, it's been a long time since I've had a chance to visit with you, Jay.
He'd like to do it more often, I'm sure.
Current earnings of $26,000 and career earnings of better than $53,000. Sullins up by 10. And another strike for Sullins. He opens with 3. Remember, $200,000 for a perfect game.
Glad to have a check this.
Well, I'll tell you, he's almost in the channel with that ball, isn't he?
He is. John, you just can't describe John's power, his strength. The determination is on his face. Look at the lift, tremendous lift. And the crunching power of the bowling ball as it enters the pins. Amazing. As Casey Stengel would say, amazing.
He left the 10-pin.
That's the hit that John will carry more often than not, by far. That light hit, he gets the pins dancing, and I'm sure that John thought he had a strike when the ball made that turn toward the pocket. You can see the pins flying all over the pin deck.
Oh, boy.
Nothing touched the 10-pin.
Looked like he deserved a little better fate there.
That's his best hit, that light hit.
So Gant and Sullivan are off to a very good start.
The front-wheel drive Dodge Lancer is the performance sedan that will thrill you all the way to the red line. Hold you to the dotted line. Cover you down the line. And impress you with its bottom line. Dodge Lancer, with prices starting at $98.52, setting new standards of performance.
Oh, for a warm and cozy castle, insulated safely from the cold of winter. Cold cuts? Oh, for Insulsafe 3 from Certainteed. Pure white fiberglass insulation, thermally efficient, non-combustible. Oh, warmth. For year-round comfort, help protect your home or castle. Insulate safely with Insulsafe 3. Call your insulation contractor now.
Like
Like many before, you came here asking for just one thing.
Sadowski. Shibowski.
A chance.
Pronounced Shibowski. You're gonna make it here, 'cause you make America work, and this fight's for you.
Here's to you, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste
Hey, Sid.
that says Budweiser.
This Bud's for you.
Sunday, the NFL plays here when the Browns battle the Raiders.
Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL 86.
Sullins with a strike in the fourth, and then he left the 3, 4, 6, 7 with this right here. And now, Earl, what a pickup.
What a spare. That is a classic shot. You don't see that spare very often, much less make it. What a fantastic shot in this situation by Harold Sullins. Great shot.
John Gant is down 17 pins. Gant leaving the 3, 5, 6, 9.
The lane surface here this week has been good for all the players. Very consistent scoring. Nothing tremendous, but a little above average. Spares haven't been that difficult. The players have made most of their spares. And just as I say that, that's normally what happens. I'm like a jinx. I didn't mean to do that, but that's typical. Cross lane at the bucket. And as you can see, the ball breaks sharply. When it gets to the track area on the right-hand side of the lane, it picks up a little more friction, cuts right in front of the 5-pin. Bad break for John. Big break for Harold Sullins. Gives him a tremendous advantage now with a 32-pin lead halfway through the match.
Last week, Gant finished 5th in the Kodak Invitational up at Rochester. He's had some tough breaks.
That's the problem with that tremendous power he puts on the bowling ball, and that's why, as I mentioned earlier, the light hit is an advantage. The solid hit can be a disadvantage. You see the ball cut in front of the 8-pin. Just chop the 5-pin right off the 8. Normally the ball should take the 5 and the 8 as it goes through the pin area. That ball just hit so hard and cut through so hard. He just picked the 5 right off the 8.
Sullins averaged 215. His high game, as we mentioned, to 300. As we look at the scoreboard, he was 229.5 on the TV pair. A lot of loft on this one, and a little high, but he got away with it.
Yeah, that one, as he got to the foul line, he was off balance. He knew it. You could see the look on his face. He wasn't real happy with it. Watch him kind of fall back on his other foot here. He didn't like the shot. The ball breaks very sharply on the back. When you cut your swing off a little bit at the foul line, the ball's going to break earlier, and that's what happened to Harold Sullins in that shot. Got a big break there. Could have been a lot worse than it was.
A win today for Sullins would earn him an exemption from the Rabbit squads for a year and a spot in the 87 Firestone Tournament of Champions.
I think more important to Harold Sullins at this point would be to get that exemption from the pre-tournament qualifier, the Rabbit squads. That's such a big thing for the players to not have to qualify on Monday every week.
The 10 is left. Looked for a moment like he was going to face the bedpost down there.
Unbelievable. The ball breaks very sharply on the back end. Lots of power. You can see the 5-pin actually went behind the 7. He was fortunate to carry the 7-pin out and only have the 7-10. He should have had a strike. Almost had the worst thing that could happen and got away with it.
He was a kicker in high school on his football team at Roseville, Michigan High. Gant is down by 30. Sullins up by 30. More after this.
Sunday, Oscar nominees Deborah Winger and John Lithgow. Academy Award winners Jack Nicholson and Shirley MacLaine in the movie classic Terms of Endearment.
You're gonna feel the power.
Looking for fun? Bowl at Fairlanes this weekend. Get the whole gang to go with you. Short season leagues are now forming.
When lightning strikes the Fairlanes, everybody wins. Lightning strikes at Fairlanes.
At Meineke Discount Mufflers, we get some pretty tough customers.
I'm not going to pay a lot for this muffler.
But we don't mind.
I'm not going to pay a lot for this muffler.
I'm not gonna pay a lot for this muffler!
Meineke's the nation's discount muffler leader, so you're not going to pay a lot. Our quality Everlast mufflers are priced from $18.93 installed.
Ooh, I'm not going to pay a lot for this muffler.
You're not going to pay a lot at Meineke.
I'm Scott Garceau. I'll have sports, scores, and highlights tonight on Channel 2 News Weekend.
Welcome back to the $135,000 True Value PBA Open that is co-sponsored by the Central Indiana PBA here at Woodland Bowl. John Gant. This is his third TV final in a row and his fifth in his last 7 appearances. He's got an uphill battle right now.
He sure does. Going into the 7th frame, down by 30 pins, he has to strike, and he has to get started right away. There's that hit we're talking about, Jay. The tremendous power, the leverage that John Gant gets on a bowling ball, that's what he wants. That light hit, that's what he'll carry. Watch him dance. Barely gets the head pin, but it's enough when you've got that kind of rotation on the ball, that kind of power. Watch the head pin go off the wall, come back, and just kill that 6 and 9 pin.
30-pin lead for Harold Sullins, or Harry Sullins, as he likes to be called now. Like putting him in a mix master when he gets it in there.
Well, John has answered the call, you might say. He knows he has to almost go all the way. The most he can shoot is 234. Harold Sullins right now is going at a 224 clip. So it's up to John to stay with him. And Harold Sullins has the opportunity to close him out with just a few more strikes.
Okay, remark to that, Goose, about him being called here.
Well, and Sullins comes right back. There's Gant and his young son there. His wife is a physician. They just recently moved back to the Cincinnati area. And she's unable to be here today. They're telling us that Sullins wants to be called Harry this year. He's got a right to change his first name if he wants to, I guess.
A bowl like this, you can do anything you want.
He's responding in excellent fashion.
Well, it comes down to this as far as John Gant is concerned. He must strike in the 9th and the 10th, 11th, and 12th for 234. That's his maximum score. Harry Sullins, going at a 234 clip at this point with still the 10th frame to bowl. Well, that was a killer for John. He can make the spare, still go out in the 10th frame for 211, but not enough. As you see the ball, John Gant going high in the head pin, and as he has done several times in the first 2 games that he's bowled today, he's left a 247. Well, they came on the air. We came on the air, Jay, with 5 bowlers, 3 of them left-handed. 2 of the left-handers are gone now, so now the left-hander that's left, Bobby Jacks, is outnumbered. And he's in the next match with Harold Sullins. That should be a great match.
And Gant having a little problem. he certainly has been going very, very well. Averaged 221 and reached the TV finals in the summer tour a number of times. Had the high average in the summer tour.
It's very disheartening for a bowler to make the top 5 this many times as John has. He's bowled tremendously well, as you mentioned, Jay, and just hasn't been able to get to that top spot to be the winner. It's tough to be a winner on the tour, but when you have this many opportunities, you want to take advantage at least once or twice.
And Gant is going to end up with 198, down from the 242 that he had in his opening match victory over Devers. And what happened?
Well, I think a lot of it might have been the fact that Harry Sullins came out with 4 in a row to start the match, put a lot of pressure on John Gant early. And Sullins isn't the kind of guy that folds. He stays in there and he keeps applying that pressure, as he did in the 8th and 9th frame with another double.
Got 9, Franklin.
And maybe the turning point in the match was the 5th frame when he left that awful-looking split and converted it. I'm sure John Gant, when he saw him leave that split, when he saw Harry Sullins leave that split, figured that here's my opening. When he converted it, the emotional up and down was a lot for John Gant to handle at that point, and he came back with an open. John Gant did, and it was really the turning point in the match.
Well, this crowd here at the Woodland Bowl enjoying very much the action of the PBA Tour this week. There's our winner, Harry Sullins. And Sullins winning match 2 will, as Earl has told you, have the opportunity to go against Bobby Jacks. What a story. Bobby, who won 3 events back in '66, hasn't won in 20 years. Back at him again, trying to go at it. Sullins 233, a victory over Gant 198. So when we come back, we will have Sullins taking on Bobby Jacks. $21,000, the first prize in this event. $200,000 for a perfect game.
True Value hardware stores unravel the mystery of choosing great gifts for do-it-yourselfers with this Snap-It Power Surge Controller that protects valuable equipment. It's just $9.99. And this First Alert lamp timer senses dust automatically. It's only $11.99. Earn a $2 rebate from Rayovac when you give this 6-volt workhorse lantern, only $10.99. And remodel step-by-step with the Ortho Home Improvement Encyclopedia, just $14.88 at most True Value hardware stores.
Hey, Mark, I see you got one of those rhinos. Oh, next thing you know, he's going to tell us it's got horns.
Unleash your game. Roll a rhino. The Rhino. From Brunswick, a urethane ball designed for professional and high-performance bowlers.
Call it character. Even nobility, if you like. It should be known as the best of its kind. And most of all, a light beer should be as great as its namesake. That's why there's Bud Light. The light beer with the first name in taste. Everything else is just a light.
This fall, NBC Sports has a November to remember when heart-pounding excitement returns to the greens, where one putt could be worth $450,000. Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Lee Trevino, and Fuzzy Zeller play the Skins Game. It's a November to remember on NBC.
Back here in Indianapolis, the match 2 results with Sullins 233, Gant 198. And along with Hall of Famer Earl Anthony, Jay Randolph here with you. And of course, we've got a real story coming up, Earl. Bobby Jacks back in business, and here's a gentleman who had such great success back when he was a youngster in 1966. 20 years later, he's back out on tour, battling back, and it's wonderful to see him again.
It is. Bobby's a very talented athlete, fine bowler. And at the time he won in 1966, that was a PBA record. The youngest player ever to win a PBA event
He was just 19, wasn't he?
19 years old. Now he has a chance to set another record. the longest time between wins. 20 years, that's a long time.
Well, he's had a lot of problems and situations through those years, but as I said, so many people said to me this week, it's wonderful to see him back and doing so well again, and it'll be interesting to see just how he handles the pressure after all this time.
Bobby's always performed well in the clutch. It's just really a matter, he's had some bad breaks the last few times he's had a chance to win. I expect him to do well today.
Well, we look forward to it. Coming up, the match between Sullins and Jacks, and we hope you'll join us. Don't forget our championship match all the way later on.
So this is Beverly Hills, huh? Guess I'll get used to it. A rodeo's called Rodeo, and the best hotel is pink. I'm checking in, they're checking out. My machine is standing out. What's the matter with y'all? Ain't you ever seen a truck?
Beverly Hills truck, the hero has arrived. A new Dodge truck, stars are in their eyes. Beverly Hills truck, the hero has arrived. A new Dodge truck.
If the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, why swallow cold pills to clear a stuffed nose? Cold pills have to go down to your stomach, dissolve into your bloodstream, and travel through your body before they finally get to your nose. But the shortest distance between relief and your stuffed nose is in Tristan long-lasting nasal spray. It starts to work in seconds. Tristan long-lasting nasal spray. Relief right on the nose.
When the big Q flows, America goes.
You there, Mr. Bailey, that's selling the car?
You buying?
Depends. How's it run?
Great. Always on Quaker State.
That's good.
Quaker State means performance. You can depend on quality.
I've heard that.
One-of-a-kind formula. Stable viscosity. Keeps flowing. Protecting.
You sold me.
The car?
And the oil.
Quaker State. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
Coming up next, the Azuzu Kapalua International Golf Tournament. The defending champion Mark O'Meara is on hand. And how about our own Lee Trevino shooting a 66 yesterday? Long-hitting Davis Love third, leading after the play going into today's action with Andy Bean and Paul Azinger and Ben Crenshaw all in pursuit. That's coming up next. The Kapalua International from out in Maui, Hawaii. It's a little cooler here in Indianapolis, but nevertheless, we've got some hot action going, and Harold Sullins, who we now call Harry Sullins, is going against Bobby Jacks. Sullins defeating Gant 233 to 198. And a nice start for Harry Sullins. Harry's 6 feet tall, 165-pounder. And if you ask him what his goals are today, he'll tell you to be exempt. Now a look at Bobby Jacks.
He has to win to be exempt, that's for sure.
Bobby's 39 years old now. Union City, California. The last of the left-handers.
Very unique style, Bobby Jacks. Bobby, as you see his bio there, he's 39, from New Orleans, Louisiana originally. He's used to living out there by me in California now. But Bobby, when he gets to the foul line, plants his foot, no slide at all, pulls the ball through a lot of strength, a lot of speed, and tends to pull the ball sometimes through the middle of the head pin as he did there.
Jacks, a 277 high game this week. 229.5 was his average on the TV pair. He averaged 218.9. Jack's second appearance in the championship round this year. Earlier the year, he was second in the Miller Lite Challenge. Left the 6-pin. Very deliberate style, Errol.
Very deliberate and very different. He has two things in his game that are very unique to Bobby Jacks, but he's such a good athlete, he gets away with that. See how he plants the foot, pulls the ball through, and his left arm on the follow-through goes directly to his left instead of toward his target or up toward the ceiling, as most players do. Bobby throws it out to the left. It's a compensation for the planted foot. By throwing his hand to the left, Bobby feels it keeps him from pulling the ball through the middle of the head pin. So he compensates for one major mistake, you might say, in his game, or one unique part of his style, by creating another one.
Sullins opened with a strike. Gotta hurry.
Got that one a little wide, Jay, and it didn't quite get back. The problem with sitting between games is you have to wait for the next match to come on. You have time to think about adjustments. You see the ball go way out near the channel, doesn't quite get back. A very difficult spare. He's going to have to try to slide the 2-pin across the lane to take out the 10.
He does.
What a great shot. Great shot. Watch this shot. The ball crosses in front of the 2-pin, sends it all the way across the lane. Perfect. Knocking out the 10-pin. What a great shot. Early in the match. Chance to get Bobby Jacks out front, and Harold answered really well. I keep calling him Harold. I know he wants to be called Harry, but I've been calling him Harold for a year or two.
That's right. It's a little tough.
Hard to change overnight.
He'd like you to call him a winner.
It could happen the way he's bowling. His timing is great today. Almost a repeat of the shot he threw on lane 60. Almost the identical result. The shot was clear out near the channel again. He just was very fortunate the 10-pin went down. See the ball going clear out near the channel. He doesn't really want it out that far. You can see the mixing action of the pins, and he's lucky to get the 10-pin down and leave only the 2. Making that split once is tough.
Yeah.
Twice in a row would be very tough.
That's the truth. Sullins over the years has admired Marshall Holman and Mark Roth, and both of those gentlemen cashed. Holman's been having some thumb problems. Hope he can be ready for next week when we have the Brunswick World Open. $200,000 in prize money. Jacks comes through with a strike in the 3rd.
Getting over those opening jitters. Look at the determination on his face. The planted foot and the yank that ball through. Ball off balance, as he always does. That's Bobby's normal shot. Directly up at the pocket. Just enough to get him out.
It would seem to me, Earl, that style puts a lot of strain on the shoulder.
And on the knee and the small of the back, Jay. With a 16-pound bowling ball coming through with that much torque. If you watch Bobby get set for the next shot, try to get the double, take the lead in the match. It's a lot of stress on the lower back and on the sliding leg, the knee.
Jacks is just 5'7", 155 pounds, left the 6.
Bobby, one of the players that likes to switch bowling balls for his spares, to use a ball that doesn't hook, go more direct at the spare. All you have to do is hit it. You don't have to throw a good ball.
Bobby Jacks even up with Sullins.
Your handyman works hard all year round, so give him a hand with hard-working gifts from True Value hardware stores. He can handle a variety of soldering jobs with the Weller soldering gun kit for just $16.99. And locate hidden studs easily with the Zircon stud sensor for only $14.99. For big repairs, give him the Master Mechanic self-igniting torch for just $21.99. And he can form strong, lasting bonds with their solid-state glue gun for only $9.99 at most True Value hardware stores.
If you just ask for a light beer, you never know what you'll get.
Dogs. No, actually, Bud Light.
So if you want the less filling light beer with the first name and taste, ask for Bud Light.
Yours?
No, because everything else...
Give me a light.
Showtime.
It's just a light.
This fall, NBC Sports has a November to remember when the beautiful shores of Maui lure the tour's great golfers. Lee Trevino, flamboyant Chichi Rodriguez, and the best in men's golf take on one of the world's toughest courses. The Isuzu Kapalua International makes it a November to remember on NBC.
A very tight match between Bobby Jacks and Harry Sullins. We mentioned Sullins earlier this week, a 300 game. But he got it over on the Brooklyn side.
He crossed it over. Now there's the adjustment he made there, or tried to make, and it didn't work as well as he was hoping it would, but he did get the strike. Remember last time on this lane, he got the ball way out near the channel. You can see that the ball doesn't get anywhere near that far out. It breaks very sharply across the head pin. He got the big break, but he's confused. We're going to have to wait and see what Harry can do as far as making the adjustments now, because he is confused.
A lot of loft on that one, and a little too high on the head pin. A 3-6 lead.
He's gone from having the ball come in very light into the pin area, or barely touch the head pin, to going through the middle of the head pin. He crossed over last shot for the strike. This one through the middle of the head pin. And he got the good break. Left a fairly easy spare. Not the easiest in the world, but fairly easy.
Started bowling when he was just 3 years of age. Bobby Jacks, just 5'7", 155 pounds. There you see he's earned better than $153,000 in his long career. More than $25,000 this year. He's got his hands full right here. A 1-3-6-9 leave.
That was a terrible shot by Bobby. It's way below his standards. That ball came off his hand like there were no finger holes in it. I mean, it just fell off his hand. Bobby's acting like he's afraid the ball's going to hook. He's not rolling the ball at all. Just not playing as well as he's capable of playing.
And he's open. Jacks, when he won those 3 titles back in '66, won a total of $11,000 in the 3 events.
You can see that ball now. He based that shot on his strike ball. The ball, he didn't expect it to hook much because he made a bad shot. It didn't hook much. This time it did hook because he rolled the ball. You can't make those kind of adjustments on bad shots.
Marvelous gentleman right there, Bruce Pluckon. My hometown of St. Louis, Missouri. What a marvelous job he has done. National Bowling Hall of Fame. And it's a strike back for Jacks. There's Don Mitchell, one of the co-owners of the magnificent Woodland Bowl here. There's a gentleman that does a wonderful job. Jim Doty is their general manager here.
This an 80-lane center, 80 lanes in a row, one of the finest in the country.
Sullins up by 15. We're in the 6th. A little high. He's got his hands full here. So both fellows really fighting it all of a sudden. Sullins a 3-6, 7-9, 10 lead.
You see the ball breaking high in the head pin. When you look at what he's got left up there, Jay, this is a very difficult spare because the ball has to cover not only the first 3 pins you see, the 3, 6, and the 9 and the 10, but he's got to get the ball to cover the 9 also, and then the 3 pin to go over and take out the 7. Very difficult shot. And break it very sharply on the back. That's a spare. It's very unusual. It's unique to most players except the power players. They do leave that spare once in a while, Jay, but not many can pick it up. As you can see, the ball slid by the 3 pin. Got the back 3, didn't get the 7 or the 3 pin.
Sullins now down by 2. Sullins comes right back with a strike. The number 1 qualifier here this week, Walter Ray Williams, and he's waiting in the wings.
Monday's a Family Tie Special when Elise plays matchmaker for a shy boy and beautiful girl.
She's incredible. Terry's a dead man.
Will it be a hit or a miss?
Whoa.
Monday.
Some people know me because I hammer the competition. I've blocked many challengers and run rings around the competition. And here's the tool pros and serious amateurs need to hammer the competition. You too can build better scores because the hammer hits harder. So hammer the competition in league play, tournament bowling, and professional tournaments. The Hammer Ball and Hammer Sportswear is available only in finer pro shops. Pick up a Hammer Ball and a Hammer shirt today.
A lot of people don't know it, but Len Stoller is one of the biggest Chrysler Plymouth dealers on the East Coast. So hurry to our first big Chrysler Plymouth sale of '87. I'm on Reisterstown Road, 5 miles north of Beltway exit 20. Len Stoller has a large selection of economical Yugos at $39.90. Why buy a used car when I can put you in a new Yugo? It's our first big sale of '87. I'm on Reisterstown Road, 5 miles north of Beltway exit 20. At our new Ford Truck Center, you'll find a tremendous selection of Baltimore's lowest prices. So hurry to our first big truck sale of '87. Len Stoller Ford, Reisterstown Road, 5 miles north of Beltway exit 20.
Channel 2 News Teletest. Crack. Tonight at 6:30 on Channel 2.
And as he is open in the 7th, he left the 2-4 and wasn't able to convert. Score of 212 at this point in the proceedings. And he is really fighting it right now, Earl.
He has 112 in the 7th. Maximum he can shoot is 202.
I said 212. I meant to say 112. Yes, he strikes back in the 8th.
But still in a match because it doesn't seem like either player is able to take command. And at this point, with Harry Sullins on a strike in the 7th, a 10-pin lead, you extend that to 20 if you can strike in the 8th, getting late in the match. That could be all he needs is this strike to win it, the way Bobby's going. Bobby just doesn't seem to be able to get his timing right, his rhythm. He's trying to fit the ball. He's way too careful with the shot. He's just not letting it roll.
Sullins up by 10 and Jacks with a possible 212. Two in a row for Sullins. That again, I think he'd have a possible 2.
Jacks could shoot 202. Harold Sullins can shoot 222. So it's still in a match. It's still in a match. Either player can still win.
Sullins asking for a re-rack, Earl.
There haven't been many of those this fall tour, Jay, and the reason being that the bowling centers we've been bowling in are all in great shape. They maintain them well. A credit to the mechanics and the people that run the centers. Ninth frame, key shot.
Oh, and he has left the 4-pin.
Good shot by Harry. Harry got the ball well out over the foul line, and what he's done to keep the ball in place is increased the loft a little bit so he doesn't have to belly it, and he doesn't have to worry about it hooking early. A little more speed, a little more loft.
He's had 9 cashes in 17 events this year. And now Jacks.
In a unique situation right here, based on the score, you wouldn't think it was possible, but Bobby Jacks, by striking in the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th frames, and he'll finish first, could shoot 202, and that would be the match. Harry Sullins would be sitting on the bench with no chance to win.
Well, he made a good adjustment there. He started that one out much farther along the channel.
And he's turning around and speaking to one of his best friends on the tour, Jimmy Certain, another touring player. And he's not very happy with the way he's bowling, but that was a great shot in a crucial situation. Bobby Jacks plants the foot, pulls the ball very hard. See, he likes it, and it's good. Needs this shot to take the lead in the match. This strike. 10th frame. Hold it.
And disgust for Bobby Jacks.
Bobby, he's a very experienced player, as we've talked about earlier, Jay. He's been as a touring professional for over 20 years. He knows he should be making better shots in this situation. He just can't seem to get it together. It's one of those days.
Bobby's a fellow who suffered what many athletes suffer, Earl, at different times in their career, kind of a burnout. And he has come back. Really, I guess this is his third time back. And
the pin count very important right now. Bobby Jacks were to strike, he'd shoot 180. It would force Harold Sullins to mark in the 10th frame. So he must get all 10 of them. Bobby knows that. All right, a final score for Bobby Jacks of 180. Harold Sullins going at a 191 pace. Obviously, any kind of a mark will be a win here for Harry Sullins, but remember, he must mark to win.
these scores lower now than we had in the first two matches. The ever-changing conditions, of course, under our television lights, and the 10-pin.
Great shot. Great shot, considering the circumstances, knowing he needs a mark. He went where he had to with his power. Solid in the pocket, the 10-pin. As I mentioned earlier, spares have not been difficult this week. But in this situation, any spare is difficult when you need that corner pin to win.
Bobby Jacks, a little disappointed.
And the spare.
And the winner, Harry Sullins.
He has to stay behind the foul line, keep the ball in the lane, get one pin, and he's a winner. A lot of things can go wrong. Nothing will, I'm sure.
Devers winning 5,000, Gant 6,000, Bobby Jacks 7,500. And Sullins will move on to face Walter Ray Williams, Jr. in the championship match. First prize, $21,000 here at the Woodland Bowl. So it'll be Sullins against Williams when we come back.
Charlie, give me a light. Charlie, a Bud Light.
If you just ask for a light beer, you never know what you'll get.
Give me a light. Bud Light. Hey, thanks.
So if you want the less filling light beer with the first name and taste, don't just ask for a light beer.
Can I have a light? Bud Light.
Bud Light. Because everything else is just a light.
Smile. The easy goes to 35 for pictures that you come alive. 35 millimeter? It's easy. Kodak beyond 35.
You just drop the film in. It almost loads itself. Then aim and shoot.
Have you ever seen a sharper baby picture?
I have. Whichever one you want to choose, we've got the 35 for you. Kodak beyond 35.
It's a great shot.
Nothing to it.
You might get caught out in the middle of nowhere with a dead battery, but I won't. This is a Delco maintenance-free battery, and when this green eye is showing, it means I've got all the starting power I need, up to 770 cranking amps. If you think your battery's fading fast, I'd start thinking Delco.
Now through January 3rd, get a $5 rebate on most Delco batteries. See a participating AC Delco retailer for details.
Never wait for trouble.
Sunday, the NFL plays here when the Browns battle the Raiders.
Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL 86.
Sullins over Jacks, 187 to 180. And Sullins with an opportunity to go against Walter Ray Williams, Jr. NBC Sports Bowling Forum with Earl Anthony is brought to you by True Value Hardware. True Value, more than just a name, it's their way of doing business. And Jay Randolph along with Hall of Famer Earl Anthony. Earl, of course, in 1987, the Pan American Games are going to be hosted by the city of Indianapolis. And in '88, we're looking forward to the Olympic Games in Seoul. where bowling will be an exhibition sport.
It will be, Jay, and I have a very strong opinion about what I think bowling should be in the Olympic Games and not an exhibition sport. Bowling is such a major sport worldwide that I feel that it's been slighted a little bit by the Olympic Committee, and I feel that in 1992 in Barcelona, Spain, they've already turned it down as a medal sport. I think it definitely should be a medal sport at that point.
Are we going to have an opportunity to see it become an Olympic sport? I mean, what's the problem?
Well, the problem is that, as you mentioned, it'll be an exhibition sport in Seoul, Korea. There are 3 stages you have to go through to become a medal sport, and that's exhibition, demonstration sport, and then you become a medal sport. And a lot of sports that are big sports, like bowling is, skip that second phase and become a medal sport in their second try at the Olympic Games, you might say. Bowling, with over 100 million people participating worldwide, that's a lot of people. Over 100 countries can field a bowling team at this point right now. Over 70 countries are members of the FIQ, the International Amateur Body of Bowling. And when you have that many people participating in a sport, that's a major sport and should be a medal sport in the Olympic Games.
Well, I think we both agree, and you probably do too, if you like bowling, that maybe the International Olympic Committee ought to get going. We hope they will.
I think so, Jay.
Indianapolis at the Woodland Bowl, we're getting set for the championship match, and Harry Sullins will have his shot at the man who qualified first this week, Walter Ray Williams Jr. Harry Sullins and Walter Ray. Your first look at the 6'2", 172-pounder from Stockton, California, qualified first with that 217.88 average. And a problem right off the bat for Walter Ray. He has left the 4.67. As always on the Fall Tour, an NBC exclusive, we bring you this championship match in its entirety without interruption.
Walter Ray didn't practice well, Jay. Before the telecast, the bowlers are allowed 30 minutes of practice on the pair they're going to compete on. And Walter, I was watching him in practice, and he seemed confused then. Didn't seem to be able to find the kind of shot that he had been playing all week. He looked like he was really not happy with the ball reaction he was getting. I hope that doesn't carry over into this match.
Well, Harry's got a problem right off the bat also. Harry is looking for his first ever PBA title.
That's right, and a lot of pressure on a young man in this situation. Walter Ray, very experienced. This is his 9th telecast of the year, so I'm sure Walter Ray is a little more relaxed than Harry Sullins at this point. Great try
at picking it up. Sullins, a 233 and a 187 so far today, averaging 210.
There are 2 reasons, you might say, that are major reasons why the scores might go down a little later in the telecast as we're getting into the last match, the championship match. One, very obviously, they're bowling for the championship. The other, the lanes do change, and the players have to make adjustments. And as they try to make those adjustments, sometimes the ball goes in a lot of directions they don't want it to go in.
Harry Sullins leaves the 2-pin. Next week, we'll be at the Northern Bowl in Glendale Heights, Illinois. Mike Albee, the defending champion in the World Open. And they've upped the prize money to $200,000. And next week, True Value will offer $100,000 for a perfect game. Here this week, they put up $200,000 for a perfect game, but that's all gone by the boards.
They can relax and breathe a little easier on that one. Championship match.
The 10-pin is standing for Williams. There's the prize money, and Williams in quest of Bowler of the Year title up on top, and in the average department he is second behind Dave Husted, who had a marvelous summer. John Gant, you see, third. Ray converting.
Walter Ray, another one of the players who switches bowling balls for his spares. Again, all they're trying to do is hit them. One pin spare, you just hit it with the ball and it'll fall down. You don't have to throw a great roll on the ball or a big hook. Just knock it down.
Many bowling fans know that he has won the horseshoe pitching world title 4 times as an adult. He won it 3 times as a junior. Hand-eye coordination of the highest magnitude. Another 10-pin.
Early in the match, neither player seeming very comfortable on the lanes, and as I mentioned, the lanes have changed a little bit. Walter Ray, being the leader, had to wait for 3 other matches to be bowled before he could come over and see what the change was on the surface. He's made the adjustment, just can't seem to get the 10 out on the 2 good shots he's made so far in the match. Cross lane, good cover.
Williams averaged 233 on the TV pair, the highest of our 5 qualifiers. Back to Harry Sullins. Just joining us, young Scott Devers won $5,000, John Gant $6,000, and Bobby Jacks took home $7,500. Now the battle is on for the $21,000 first prize. Harry gets the strike in the 3rd to lead by a pin. This makes this at least 2nd place finish for Sullins, the best ever for him. He wants to win it all. He's well on his way. There's Walter Ray just behind him there. It's his mother, Esther Williams. It's a famous name. There she is. Not the Esther Williams, but as far as Walter Ray's concerned, she's the Esther Williams.
That's right.
All right. She likes it. So does he.
That's right. There's my boy. That's my boy.
Why is it when we televise football games and baseball games that fellows always turn around to the camera and say, "Hi, Mom"? Whatever happened to Dad, huh? Didn't get there, and Williams has left the 2-4-5-8.
It's early in the match, but Walter Ray's kind of digging himself a little hole here. Harold Sullins on a double. Walter Ray with a difficult spare. Must convert it to keep the match close.
Converted he does. Walter Ray practices with about 50 games a week. Sullins enjoys playing golf, and also he has quite a car collection.
Really turned out hard.
And it turned out very good.
Tremendous wrist rotation on that ball, and he got it way out on the lane, way down the lane, and that was the same point the ball was at near the channel where he left the 210 earlier in his match against Bobby Jack. See the ball way down the lane, breaking very gently on the back, great pin action, tremendous lift on that ball.
Sullins getting a re-rack on 59, leading by 21 pins. That was Sullins' 2nd re-rack of this match, and he's left the 3-6.
He's tried to make an adjustment here that worked for him on the right-hand lane. He pulled it on the left-hand lane. He's slowed the ball down a little bit and really come around the side of the ball to create that sharp break in the back. He just didn't get it out near the channel far enough.
We've talked about the prize money, 21,000 for first, 12,000 for second. And a spare for Harry Sullins. Walter Ray is down by 19 pins. Walter won his third title in Edmond, Oklahoma. On the summer tour, he beat Guppy Troop in the semifinals and then took Brian Thomas. He is, as we've told you, the leading money winner on tour. Top candidate for Bowler of the Year honors.
Williams is 19 pins down at the end of the 6th frame.
Double for Walter Ray.
And he was running it out, Jay. He knew he'd released the ball the way he wanted to. Now, if I can just get that carry. And tremendous lift, good leverage. Watch the reaction of Walter Ray after he releases the ball. He knows it's a good shot. And watch the pins fly. 5 cross the lane into the 7.
He cut Sullins' lead to 9. Out on the channel, but he got away with it. It really turned in there at the last moment.
What a break. Unbelievable. He almost lost that ball in the channel, and that's nothing. When you get it in the channel, you don't get any pins that way. Watch the look on his face. He thought it was gone. Oh, please hook. Oh, please hook. And there it comes back, and what a break.
Call that almost running out of real estate, wouldn't you?
That's it. They don't hook out very much when they're in the air, hanging over that channel. See if you can take advantage of that tremendous break.
Sullins' 5th strike in this match. The lead is 19 for Sullins.
What a turning point that could have been in the match. That ball came back from almost Never Never Land for the strike in the 7th frame, and he came back for the strike in the 8th for the double.
Oh, the 7 wouldn't go. Like a very good hit.
Ball didn't roll well for Walt that time. He just wasn't happy with the release. He didn't like the way he got out of the ball, and you could tell by the way he reacted after he released it. It didn't really make the good sharp break into the pins that he wanted. See the look on his face. He was hoping for a break, didn't get it. For the 7 pin.
A 20-point advantage right now.
2 frames to bowl. Walter Ray, in order to have any chance in this match.
As he's down
really
by 20, it says plus 20 there.
He
But
really needs a strike here in the 9th. And the 10 pin.
The 10 pin again.
2 very important things happening here today that both players have a lot of reasons to want to win very badly. One, obviously, is that Walter Ray could just about ice Bowler of the Year if he won. Harold Sullins wants to get his first win, be eligible for the Firestone Tournament of Champions, and be exempt from that pre-tournament qualifier.
Get away from those rabbits.
Get away from those rabbits.
There's Walter Ray's career championship round record. He qualified first here at the moment. Sullins in the driver's seat. And he's looking very good.
Right now, he's looking like a winner, Jay.
Yes, sir. 3 in a row for Sullins.
All he needs is to keep it on the lane, Jay. If he can just keep the ball in the lane the next shot, he's a winner.
And it will be. his first PBA title.
Didn't waste any time. Ran up there and threw the ball.
Nothing to it.
Nothing to it. He switched balls. He went to the ball, doesn't hook as much, and just lined it to the pocket.
Coming from the number 3 spot here.
And boy, did he perform well under pressure. First time ever a winner for Harry Sullins. He's going to be a very happy young man.
He's all right. Oh boy. What this, Earl, we've talked about what it means. I mean, you're out here toiling away week after week with the Rabbit squad early on. This is just a remarkably wonderful win for this young man.
It is, and not only that, but he didn't beat somebody that's, you know, a pushover. He beat one of the best bowlers in the world, and one of the bowlers that right now is the hottest player on the tour, Walter Ray Williams. And look at the emotion. A little tear here and there, and I don't blame him. I felt that way before myself, Jay. I know what he's feeling. It's a wonderful feeling, and it's hard to control your emotions.
Some tears of happiness for Harry Sullins. Maybe it helped to change his first name.
That could be it.
Do you think it had anything to do with it?
I think it was just talent. I don't think the name had anything to do with it.
So it's going to be a nice payday for Walter Ray Williams. And Walter Ray picking up $11,000. There's our champion, Harry Sullins from the Detroit area. Big round of applause for him. Back with more in just a moment.
Some of the best workshops rely on accessories from True Value hardware stores, like the rugged Plano Totemore with drawer and carrying handle for just $5.29. Bright and dark areas with a Woods Wire retractable reel light for only $14.99. The Master Mechanic two-piece mini-locking plier set is $9.99, less a $3 mail-in rebate. And the Snap-It Power Strip with 8 grounded receptacles is also just $9.99 at most True Value hardware stores and home centers.
This is your cousin Samantha.
Hi, Samantha. I've never ridden in a truck.
Don't be shy, you're not alone. Let our dogs take us there, settle back in your chair. Soon we'll be at the place we call our own. Come on, Dodge, come along to my Carolina home.
Samantha, can I call you Sam? Sure.
America's favorite pastime returns to NBC as the nation's top rollers battle it out for Bowler of the Year honors. Join Jay Randolph and Hall of Famer Earl Anthony for the PBA Fall Tour next Saturday on NBC.
Welcome back to Indianapolis with our champion Harry Sullins defeating Walter Ray Williams 233 to 194. Let's go down to Jay Randolph with the presentation.
All right, thank you very much, Earl, and it's a very happy man right here. A few tears under those eyeglasses. Boy, this was something special for you, Harry.
It sure was, Jay, but it's just too exciting.
Well,
but it's great to do it here.
I'll tell you.
Let me tell you.
For you, it's great to do it anywhere because Earl and I were discussing what this means to you. No more Rabbit Squad. You're qualifying now for a year, and you're into the Firestone tournament. I mean, it's a very meaningful item.
Jay, it's a large one. Myself, my goals were to become exempt and to win one. Well, after you get one, you're always hungry for two. So by the time I get to Firestone, I hope I have two. If not, I'd like to make that one number 2.
Oh, that would be very nice. Was there any key in the match here today for you? You made some big spares, of course.
Well, the key to the first game was starting out with the first 4, but the second game, the lanes got a little snaky on me, and I tried to stay clean when I hung a double. And then Bobby opened. I said, well, that was my opportunity to get to the match. But in the championship match, I had to readjust my line and just change my release. And I moved way out, and after I carried them a couple of shots, I said, well, go for it.
Well, we're going to go for the money and the trophy right here. Dan Cotter, of course, is the president of the Cotter Companies, and they are the parent company for True Value Hardware, who do so much for bowling. You want to pass out the prizes?
First, I want to shake his hand. Congratulations. Right. Super. And on behalf of the True Value Hardware stores all over the United States, here's a check for $21,000 and our famous golden hammer to you.
The golden hammer, boy, that's, if you're going to win one, that's a nice way to start.
Well, you got to start with one. This is one, and I got to admit, being that this was a True Value, I always thought for the last 2 or 3 years is, boy, if you ever make the show, go ahead and just try to get the first 6, 7, 8 in a row and see how tough it is. And I got to admit, that first game when I had the first 4, I had a good line, and after that I said, well, my mistake. So, but I hung tough.
Mr. Cotter, you folks put up $200,000 for a perfect game here this week. We had a few earlier in the week, but none in the TV finals. It's been since '74 that we've had a perfect game on television, but your continued wonderful support of the PBA Tour is really appreciated, I can tell you, by all of the fellows who bowl out here.
We're happy to do it. We're just proud to be associated with you, and the True Value Hardware stores are very happy to be involved with bowling.
Well, it's been a wonderful week. Thanks to all of you here in Indianapolis. Always great to be at the Woodland Bowl. Let me get just one final thought from you.
Well, Jay, thanks for the True Value Hardware Company and Woodland Bowl. It's been great this week. And I don't think I can add anything else except it's the best I could do.
The best was good enough here this afternoon. The PBA Tour has been sponsored by True Value Hardware. More than just a name, it's their way of doing business. By AC Delco, the smart parts. By Bud Light, everything else is just a light. And by Dodge, America's best back trucks are Ram Tough. Remember next week to join us for the $200,000 Brunswick Memorial World Open from the Northern Bowl in Glendale Heights, Illinois. For Earl Anthony, this is Jay Randolph. So long from Indianapolis. This has been a presentation of Bud Sports and the PBA Incorporated in association with NBC Sports.